Our guest today is Jim Parkman. This was a huge case. I mean, this was the fourth largest accounting fraud in the history of the United States.
The CEO of HealthSouth, the Fortune 500 healthcare company.
Ferrari Enzo was nearly obliterated in the high-speed crash along the PCH.
Zenvo ST150S.
He went from being on the Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Only going to make 3 for the United States.
I'm Bobby Khan, former exotic car dealer turned #1 FBI's most wanted fugitive.
Generally, when you look at the law, 90% of the time it's against you.
The FBI put a $20,000 reward for information into his arrest.
Bobby Khan scammed super rich customers at a New Jersey car dealership.
Join myself and James Parkman, my attorney and best friend, as we have cars, courts, and conversations.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Parkman Khan Unleashed. We're obviously talking, that's Jim Parkman, I'm Bobby Khan, and we're here talking about the events of January 1st today. So, Jimmy, you want to take it away on this one?
I do. Something came out today in the news that surprised me. I had guessed opposite, okay? Because I was, when we did the last episode, we talked about the relationship between Trump and Tesla, right?
Yeah, exactly, yep.
So now I'm reading to where this individual that was in the truck, a young guy, maybe 37, 38, Green Beret, okay, 5 bronze medals, right? Yeah, and was
a Trump supporter,
a big supporter of Trump, huge. Put on, went in and made comments about the things that he said. So I'm like, what?
I'm flabbergasted. And I read that him and his wife had issues because his wife was a Bernie Sanders supporter and he was a Trump supporter.
I don't know about that, but you may be right. But you're there where it's taking place. You ought to know more than I do.
And in today's news, his uncle came out and said, I don't know if you read the article that his uncle put out there. So his uncle said, none of this makes sense to the family because this guy was an avid Trump supporter. And he said he was a decorated thing. And he goes, if this man was actually intending to hurt people, this man knows how to do it. He goes, this guy's a modern day Rambo. So he goes, if he wanted to hurt somebody, he could really hurt somebody and not do what he did. He thinks that the guy commits suicide, and being that he had the fireworks in his car, being that the car was on autopilot, it just pulled in and parked in that spot, and the fireworks exploded, and being that it's a battery, everything else exploded with it.
Well,
I don't know.
That's not what I'm reading. I'm reading that it was detonated after he committed suicide.
So
my question is, he had gone by there, at least we believe that, right? He'd gone by the Trump Tower twice, the Trump Hotel.
Yeah, for 40 minutes he went back and forth.
Yeah, and then he pulls up and it does. Now, looking at it from the standpoint of being a Trump supporter and him being so decorated as a soldier, I mean, Green Beret, bronze medal. I mean, come on. This guy was something else. Maybe it's not what we think it is. Maybe
I say the same thing.
Maybe it's something else, but it has a meaning to it. But it may be the wrong meaning that I interpreted when I first read it. Like, this guy hates Trump, and I don't
think it's about hating Trump.
I don't think it is either.
I don't think so.
Is it a message being sent to others? I don't know. It's a great question, and unfortunately, he's not here to answer it. And I wish he was. You
can't rush to a conclusion. Okay?
No, you cannot.
You cannot, and the media loves to have a conclusion, and they want to be able to splash these headlines. But I'm saying the same thing. You got to sit back and wait. You got to do a proper investigation to realize what happened. You got to go through all his emails, his text messages, any communication, his house, whatever. Maybe there's one shred of evidence that says this is what happened here, or this is what led him to that. Yeah. Because It just doesn't make sense. How are you a Trump supporter, and how are you a decorated veteran? And I mean, not a veteran; he was in service still. Yeah, I mean, so, and then this happened.
And for what I'm reading, not only was he that, but a new father. I mean, a great father, and I mean, everything adds up to adds up to a guy that has credentials that even if he gets out of the military or whatever, he's got
private security. He's
going to have he's going to have jobs available, you know, with his background. And
I mean, the guy could have left and been a private security contractor and make $500,000 a year easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And maybe you're correct. Maybe it wasn't meant to be a bomb that said, although it bothers me that there's gas and other type fuel in the vehicle. And, you know, that's odd.
Also, like, you know, listen, I think on the wild side sometimes, and like, well, what is it? What if it was a setup? Because you're in a vehicle that's self-driving. You literally could put the address for Trump Tower in there, shoot the guy in the head, and then set the car out there to drive around to get to that place.
Now, see, you messed me up again. You messed up my psychology, okay? You got me. You got me all.
Unleashed.
You got me all messed up now with all that. Gracious alive.
You literally can shoot the guy in the head, put him in the car, put the fireworks and the gas can in there, and next thing you know, the car pulls up to the valet, stops, and the car explodes. And now you just blamed a military guy on this, right? It's a million things that can go wrong, and I don't know what could it be.
I don't either.
I don't think we're going to get the answer. I really don't.
I hope we do, because, and here's why. Okay? From what I've read about this gentleman, all right, he was a great family man and a great hero.
And he was decorated.
I don't want that. I don't want that to be tarnished. I hope we can get to that and find out.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame to see somebody that highly decorated and their image tarnished like this.
Exactly. And you know, I want his children, his wife, to go in life and not say,
and not be ashamed.
And say my husband, my dad was a hero, a real hero in life.
Yep.
So I want to get to the bottom of it, and I hope they do, and I hope they get to the bottom, and I hope the bottom is just what I said. That something else happened.
It's a shame that we live in a society where basically, you know, we come to a judgment within 5 seconds, right? Like, okay, this happened, and the media has formed a judgment. People have formed a judgment. And I keep saying, I said, you can't form a judgment. I said, and then this whole series of events, right? New Orleans, Vegas, everybody wants to package it together as in one thing. They're like, well, they were both military guys. They were both driving pickup trucks, rented from Toro. Too many coincidences. This was a bigger plan. And I'm like, listen, you can't put this in there. And then the ignorance comes in, okay? I mean, I'm watching news people. And I'm talking about like people that are getting paid millions of dollars, and the stuff that's coming out of their mouth, you're like, where do you get your information from? Like the hot dog vendor down the street? I mean, so for example, I saw one news anchor yesterday. He's on there saying it's time to send all these Islamic radicals back to their country. And I'm like, one's a white guy, the other guy was a black guy, both American citizens, both American military. Where are you going to send them to? Like, do you even know what you're talking about?
No.
Like,
because look. Let's face reality a minute, Bobby Khan. When I heard the report right off, and you and I talked about this, Trump Tower, Tesla,
Elon Musk,
Donald Trump. Look, I don't want to say I jumped to a conclusion, but I did jump to a thought process.
Yeah, this guy that hates Trump.
This guy hates Trump, and he's now come back to want to do something to let everybody know that he's not happy about what's going on. Now, that was my thought process. I didn't rush to judgment, but I rushed to opinion.
Yeah.
And you know, you just hit the nail on the head, and I know better and still did it. I know better and did it.
But that's what humans do, right? Human beings do that.
But
if you're paying $10 million a year to read the news, you better go on there and say, do I sound like an idiot saying this? Like, these were American citizens. These weren't immigrated citizens. These were American born.
Yeah.
And, the guy in Vegas, he's a typical white guy. You wouldn't be able to tell. Like, you're not going to sit there and say, oh, well, deport him to some country because he wasn't Muslim. He wasn't radicalized. He wasn't this. He wasn't that. He was a hero. What are you going to do with there? So don't go on the news and tell people and try to scare them and intimidate them so they go in their neighborhoods and now all of a sudden they're going to go Muslim bashing for the next 3 years, like what we did after 9/11. It's like, let's take a deep breath. Let's see the facts before you go on there to try to get your clickbait headlines.
Yeah, and you're right. And all of a sudden, the other side comes up.
Yep.
So here I am going. I thought I had it down pat that this was going to be a sign of somebody not liking what's going on in the future of the country, and bam, and now it's turned around to where that's not the case. Now you've done really messed everything up.
I'm going to mess one more thing up for you. Something that no one's talking about.
All right.
Secret Service screwed up again. I'll tell you why. This building is owned by a former president and a future president. Explain to me why, in a city like this, there is no Secret Service barrier in front of the entrance of that. They had it when he was president outside of Fifth Avenue, before in front of Trump Tower for years.
Yeah.
There was always police presence. If there was a Secret Service presence there, where there's a gate, where, cars just don't drive up to the valet, this wouldn't have happened. This isn't the Wynn Casino. This isn't the Mirage. This is Trump Tower. The guy that owns it is the president of the United States. You know that's a target. It's a target for the next 4 years.
But what if it's not a target?
Exactly. No, but
now we got now all of this about, well, they should have done this or done, was not necessary.
No. What I'm saying is that if a car was coming onto the property, doesn't matter if it's a target or not, there should have been a barrier there anyway. That the car would have never got through it. Even if it's a normal car, they would have stopped every car that goes into the valet. Make sure, this is a legit car that's pulling in here. They could have stopped something. This car just drove right in. Yeah. And if there was Secret Service and they were spotting and they were actually doing their job, they were like, this guy drove by 8 times. What's going on here?
Yeah, that's unusual.
Yeah, I mean, if they had Secret Service standing outside the building and they see a suspicious vehicle just driving back and forth over and over again, and it's not like you can miss it, the car looks like a dumpster. So if a dumpster on wheels drives by 8 times, same driver, where are you going, buddy? Pull your stop.
Well, you certainly can't miss the car.
No, you can't
truck,
miss the car.
Whatever
it's
you want to call
car
it.
on the road.
No.
Oh my God, it's horrendous.
It's awful. I mean, you wouldn't miss it. I mean,
I have to make a little joke. When I saw that, I'm like, wow, that's a dumpster fire. Because I call them a dumpster, right?
You did.
I'm like, we're having a dumpster fire on January 1st.
Yeah. And it, and he went and rented it. He didn't buy it. He rented it.
Yeah. Listen.
So, there's so many, I mean, there's just so much.
So much that it's so confusing. But what I got to say to people is stop making judgments. We don't know.
That's correct.
I hope we do find out, but I don't think we will because, like anything else in this country, if they find out the truth, they're going to subdue it. Because if
I hope not.
Fit the narrative,
I hope not.
I hope so too.
I hope they find out, and like I said, I hope they find out to the point that they can say that the young man was a credit to his family and his country. I do. Yeah. I pray for that.
I mean, I hope
really
for his sake and his family's
sake. And I hope that's what we find out.
Happens. Did I lose you there? I lost you again, didn't I? Oh, you're back. Okay.
So I hope that's the case. Good for his family and good for the country, and that they can honor him in a way that he should be honored.
Yep. Okay.
I hope I'm right.
I'd love to hear people's thoughts on this. So let us know, guys. All right?
I'd like to hear. like your conspiracy theories. I like to hear, what people think about that. That's
Listen, I want to hear that. I want to hear people. I mean, look, this is why we're called Unleashed, because I'm going to throw everything out there.
Yeah,
because there's people that think that. So let me just throw it out there.
You may be right. I mean, like I said, you messed me up, and I hadn't given that any thought. I'll be honest with you. I forgot about this thing and what it could do, and maybe that's not far fetched.
You know what? Nothing is far fetched because. Listen, I've lived my life where I've been around the block and I've seen so many things that the average American doesn't get to see, right? Yeah. And I'm like, most people live in this sheltered life and think that, it's a white picket fence life. The government is supposed to tell you the truth. You're supposed to trust everybody. This is this and this and this. But reality is that there's a lot of dirty people out there. There's a lot of nefarious things that are happening in this world. Yeah. And we don't know it. And the media doesn't tell us the truth. If they did, we wouldn't be having Trump would have coined the phrase fake news for a reason. I mean, we don't get the facts. We get what their agenda is pushed down our throat because Rupert Murdoch owns Fox, so he's going to pitch one thing. Time owns CNN, they're going to pitch something else. And sometimes you have to think outside the box.
Well, you're right, and you threw out some broadcasters on different networks. I've never had a chance to do this, but my favorite guy, and you're not going to like this because it's a CNN guy. Oh, but it's not the guy; it's the name.
Okay,
Wolf Blitzer. What a name!
Oh my God, that guy's had breaking news for 25 years.
What I know. I mean, but what a name! What a guy! I mean, he was there, baby.
Let me tell you something.
And let me tell you, Wolf Blitzer. What a name! That guy.
I had it with Wolf Blitzer in 2008 when the economy crashed, right?
Yeah.
And this guy would get on, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to breaking news tonight. And tonight, breaking news: the world's coming to an end. The economy. I'm like, listen, buddy. People are still at restaurants eating. People are still buying cars. People are still doing this. The world is not coming to an end. We go through this. The economy goes up. The economy goes down. Whatever. But the world never comes to an end. It never came to an end in 1929. It's never going to come to an end. There will always be people with money. There will always be people with it. There's going to be down times. There'll be good times. But enough with the breaking news.
But come on, it was great. America held hostage day 168. I mean, those were the days. And listen, I got so acclimated to him and the name.
Wolf Blitzer.
Love the name. Love it. What a name.
I can't tell you the last time. Even with Fox News, right? Yeah. I gave up watching it. I don't watch the news anymore. I'm an avid reader. And what I do is I read like at least 5 or 6 different newspapers before 7 a.m. every day.
What? You mean they're newspapers that exist?
Yeah, no, online, okay?
Since when did newspapers exist?
Yeah. Right? So I read international news first from overseas, and I get the news from them. And then I read the American, and I'm like, wow, the same story was told 5 different ways, right? With a different spin to it.
Sure.
All right. Let me make my own assumption to it. So, oh, man. Oh.